furthest away, Estonia. Well, could we have a Polish win here? It should be a good dust-up between the Poles and the Germans in lanes 3 and 4.
I think they look very psyched up looking at the German crew there. Andre Wilms in the bow seat. I think they regard this as more than just an opener for the season. I think it's very important to put down the marker of how fast you're going to go. These are two Poles, after all, third last year and second the year before, right up there, and Germany the winners for those 3 years. So this is showdown. Yeah,
Poles they've always been good, but they've always come up against somebody to just take the major on away from them. You're just feeling, maybe their luck's going to change.
The wind is certainly changing. I don't know whether that's part of the luck. It's got a lot stronger just in the last 5 minutes, and the flags are now standing out practically horizontal, having been flapping down the pole, and it looks fairly direct head, but we've been told again and again that it's a bit cross further down the course. Over at the start, you can see from the picture there, it is completely calm.
You said direct head. I was looking at it. Looks more like direct tail, but
I'm looking at the flag directly in front. Sorry, direct tail, I beg your pardon. I meant straight down the course would be the right thing to say. Anyway, here we have Poland sharply off the start, and we'll see in a second how the Germans are more anxious off the start, and a lot more water flying around the place, digging very deep there. The strokeman Robert Sens, who is one of the very, very few to have converted into quadruple sculling from being a sweep oarsman with a single blade in his hand instead of two. He was world champion in the coxless pair with Detlef Kirchhoff some years ago, then switched to sculling. That's a very rare change. Sometimes people switch to sculling and go in the single, where their idiosyncrasies can then affect anybody else, but to go into a crew boat like this is a remarkable change.
But to balance that out, as a junior, he was a sweep oarsman, so
sculler, then sweep oarsman.
It was a sculler. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Then sweep oarsman, and then came back into sculling.
Yeah.
No, he had the background. It's still an unusual switch.
Germany with a solid start here, and this is such a mature crew, but also we've got to remember that the Italians will have a decent quadruple scull to put into the argument as well.
Yes, there are several countries. Holland can come up with a good quad. There are several that might do so, but the Andre Wilms, he was after being junior champion, he was single scull senior champion 10 years ago. Stefan Volkert and Marco Geisler have been in the quad for years and years, and as I said, Robert Sens is no junior. He's just come in lately after his career in rowing.
Interesting that the countries that have actually qualified already include Australia, Germany, Great Britain, Italy, who've got their quad qualified, the Czech Republic, France, Russia and Belarus, Estonia, Poland and Switzerland. So all those countries have actually qualified a quad, and the situation as you look forward to Lucerne is, just looking at that, there are only 2 more places up for grabs.
Indeed, the Lucerne will be another bloodbath, because there'll be a lot of people trying to qualify in those 2 places.
Including the United States and Canada, I suspect.
Although the United States and Canada have the concentration of strength in their squads in other boats, and so the quad has always come behind, and in neither case have they in recent years devoted their best physiques, their best bodies to the sculling squad. They've tended to concentrate on the rowing squad.
One nation who are disappointingly absent from here are actually the Ukraine, who generally have very strong sculling squads, but not appearing here. Maybe at Munich. We'll have to wait and see.
Maybe they will. I mean, it is one of the consequences of the breakup of the former Soviet Union following 1990 that we have so many very strong countries that were previously part of that union, and one hates to think how many wonderful athletes were left behind when they chose the Soviet Union team to go to the USSR team to go to a championships, because we would be missing several of the crews that have been startlingly good to look at here.
Well, it's the Russians who've got the call at the moment in lane 2 narrowly. This is Sergei Fedorovtsev, who's in the stroke seat, from Alexei Svidin, and then Igor Kravtsov and Nikolai Shpinev. That's the quartet from the Russia. Poland in second place, Germany third, but all to play for in the second half of the race. Germany in the foreground there in lane number 4, just perhaps regaining the advantage now as we go into the second half of the race.
Yes, Germany showing, but considering that they're rowing along 37 strokes to the minute, the Germans, and very solid and strong, this is a fairly impressive performance by the Russians coming up in lane 2 there.
And there the gaps, it's pretty close. I mean, they've got the Russians ahead there. I'm not sure that I necessarily agree with that. Again, I'd take the graphics there with a pinch of salt.
Well, the line of boys that you can see passing under the crews as we speak shows Germany half a length now in front of Russia, and I think it was not so much, but it was definitely a lead for Germany at the marker.
Poland also being urged on now in lane number 3. They really need to find something more, because they were outsped by the best part of a second and more by both Germany and Russia in that third quarter, and that's really important now. As they come down to 250 meters, it is Germany in lane 4 who lead on the near side. It's Belarus moving forward to challenge now. Belarus, who've been lurking down in 5th place and are now really putting pace to the race here. And this quartet, 3 of them who were in the boat that finished 11th last year, and they are definitely in with a chance of a podium finish, because you can see the bow of lane 5. And Germany, though, the angle is very deceptive there. It's not really a very honest picture, but now Germany, who are being chased by Russia in second place, and it's a real fight on the far side. Estonia finishing again extraordinarily quickly on the top of your picture there to try and grab third place. Germany get first, all second there, maybe Belarus, and then Estonia and Russia in a very close finish for third and fourth places, at the moment given to Estonia.
Just to illustrate the point I was making earlier about the breakup of the former Soviet Union, that's second, third and fourth places spread among what would have been one crew in the past.
But very interesting, because as you rightly said, I mean, the Soviet Union got a lot of talent from the Baltic countries.
Certainly did.
And now you're seeing our new cousins in the European Union independently showing that they can be a force in that sport, because Estonia, Yuri Jansen started the day in fine style, taking the men's single sculls, and Estonia have had 3 boats in the final. They've all performed with immense credit.
Absolutely.
Estonia runners-up to Germany in the men's double sculls, and another podium place here.
Yep. The Vos is with them, and the wind's behind them as well. As we were saying, that was a fast race because the conditions are nearly perfect for quadruple sculls. But if the tactics have to be that if you can get out in front, you've got to do so early on, because the chances of catching up when the tailwind is pushing everybody along fast become that much harder. If you're going to a stiff headwind, then you can change your pace and push on by sheer power, but once you've got a lead here, you've got to be shaken out of it. Robert Sens showing his great pleasure.
Yeah, but they know they've had a race.
Oh, very certainly. I mean, they were, as you say, nearly overhauled. We didn't think they had been, but the scoreboard showed them as being not beaten, but led at 1,000 meters.
Estonia finishing the 2,000 meters, just to get the time on that. Got to come down.
The double scull you're looking at.
It is the double scull, but I'm going to come to the right one. Estonia, well, Belarus, the fastest finishers, 1:26.60, which is why they were hauled up from 5th at the three-quarter stage of the regatta, 1,500 meters, into second place. So really fast finish from Belarus. And Estonia, 1:26.